Welcome, everybody. We'll let this song finish out because it's just, good. And then we'll get started. All right, everyone. I want to thank everybody that's joined us today. I think we have quite a few people, which is super exciting, to go over the importance of mindfulness today, which, everybody needs. And I definitely need it right now. So I'm excited to go through it with you. My name is CJ Roberts. I'll introduce myself a little bit further. I'm here with Donna Trujillo to help us go through all of this. We are going to ask everybody, if you can, to turn on your cameras. We want to see those faces and just want to engage with you and keep this as exciting as we can virtually. If we could be in person, that would be even better, but this is a pretty good option. Be aware of what's going on with your background. If you can put a background cover on, great. Just don't want anything popping up that we don't want to show. If you can stay engaged, we're going to be using the chat, and we're going to break out into breakout rooms a little bit later. Get to know each other. Keep your microphone muted when you are not speaking. That'll help with any background noises. And yeah, just continue to use the chat box when you need to. We love to ask or answer any questions that you guys have along the way. We have Ellen running the screen, so she's there to kind of help if you guys do have questions and we're kind of busy and distracted chatting. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is CJ Roberts. I'm a senior project manager at GSN. I am lucky enough to work in the health and wellness area. I focus on health and wellness planning for school districts. I've had a lot of fun doing that and some success growing and helping schools reach their health goals. Implementing movement within your community. I am lucky to partner with a great company called Sound Off, and we do a lot of fun things for schools and communities to get movement going. And then also I am really developing a lot of community partnerships for districts and education entities. So that's been a really fun thing as well. I'm going to go ahead and let Donna introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna Trujillo. I'm Vice President of Tiered Services and Special Populations here at GSN. It was really hard to put what I do into boxes, but these are some of the boxes that I do right now. Social emotional learning, turnaround leadership, principal induction, special education, and pretty much anything schools districts need, including multi-tiered systems of support and other areas of opportunity. We do here at GSN work with schools and districts to obtain grant funding. So and a wide breadth of staff within our organization to support really pretty much any need of a school or district. So keep our information in case you want to connect with us after or at some point around what grants or what work we can provide to you. Prior to coming on with GSN, I was a director of the third largest school district in Colorado for personalized learning. And I'm just happy to be here with all of you today.
Thanks, Donna. Okay, we're going to get into it. We've got a lot to cover today, and we want to make sure we get through it all and provide you guys the resources and everything that can kind of come out of this mindfulness presentation. So what we really want you all to kind of take away is defining mindfulness, exactly what it is. It's a buzzword right now, and sometimes it can be taken, I think, a little bit wrongly. So we want to really make sure we define that. We're going to explain the benefits of practicing mindfulness, so what we can actually gather and see growth from mindfulness and see success and own personal experience, and then introduce mindfulness to our students. So how do we bring that to them in a very fun and interactive way, that it's a tool that we're giving them in a toolbox for life, really.
And you know what, in doing this, I've found these strategies that you get today work for yourself too.
That is so right. So because we have a great number of participants, I would like to do a really quick welcome circle, but we'll do it in the chat box just to kind of keep us moving along. But I thought it would be fun if we just share our names in the chat, and then one word or something that goes along with you that fits you, but it starts with the same letter as your first name. So for example, I'll go first. My name is CJ and I like chocolate. So if I can spell, I almost put lick chocolate. If
And
you can share.
And also if you could put in where you're visiting us from today. Sometimes we get people from all over the world. So I love seeing who is there. So your name, something that describes you with the first letter of your first name and where you're located.
Yay, California.
Marvelous Marion. Love it.
We really like to do warm-ups like this. I think it really introduces children's voice and ability to really connect with where they are personally. So it's a really fun thing that you can bring in. One of my favorites is, if you were an animal today, what animal would you be? And you can really dive into where that kid is and what's kind of going on. So little things like this can go a long way.
Gosh, we have people from Italy, Philippines.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Welcome.
Arizona, New Jersey, Maine, from
Arizona.
From all over. The Bahamas, can I come?
We'll be right really. There. It's supposed to get cold here tonight.
Oh yeah. New York, we're facing snow, so what are we doing? Yeah. West Virginia, New York, Northern California, North Carolina, Michigan, Nebraska. Go Huskers.
Yay, go Big Red.
Yeah.
Donna and I are both Big Red fans.
Well, I have to be.
Yeah, you're married into it.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you. Keep them coming, you guys. We love reading through them.
Navajo Nation, love it.
Awesome. Okay, so this is another really great example of something that we like to bring into the classroom and just, again, bring that mindfulness. So on a scale 1 to 5, in the chat, or you can do your fingers if you got your video on, where you kind of sit right now, from like tired as being 1 to 5 being excited, or just plain happy or content. But if you can share where you're kind of at in the chat, I will even share. I'm kind of lower than I normally am.
So 4s, 1s, 3s, 2s, 4.5. Ooh, almost a 5. 3.5. This is a good way to check in with students. And if we had more time, we could have you explain why you gave yourself the rating you did.
And that's what gives you the opportunity to really kind of see where a student is, and it can kind of define maybe some things that's going on or why they're having issues in the classroom, and you can kind of start processing how to help that student a little bit in a connective way and a little bit deeper way, and really get something out of it, regardless of if maybe they're a 1, they can still have a good day. And a lot of it is just connecting with that student. Thank you guys for sharing. Okay, so we're going to do a 1-minute mindfulness exercise, and it's really going to be focused on our breath control, and just focusing on breath. And it's amazing what you can do when you do focus on your breathing. I think it's funny, my husband, when I take a deep breath, he'll like glance at me and be like, "What's wrong?" Because he knows that when I'm stressed, I hold my breath. And when I'm starting to try to figure out or deal with it, I start to heavy breathe because I'm not breathing. And so it's obvious that that's what I need to do. I need to slow down. So we're going to kind of help everybody, especially we saw a lot of low numbers. So maybe this will help out. But just find yourself in a comfortable position, your chair or your couch or wherever you may be, and just kind of relax those shoulders, kind of find that breath and just pay attention to where it is. Is it short? Is it long? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from your chest? Is it coming from your shoulders or your stomach? Feel free to close your eyes and just kind of take this moment to really just focus on how that breath is doing. Now, as you find that, go ahead and place one of your hands on your stomach. And as you make that transition from inhaling and exhaling, try to make it as fluid as possible. I like to think of a wave, like as it just naturally flows up and then naturally flows back in. So just envision that really fluid, lots of oxygen in, lots of CO2 out. Now count to yourself and try to maintain that fluid with 6 seconds of inhale, followed by 6 seconds of exhale. Try that a couple times, about 5 times. As you finished up that last round, go ahead and start bringing your awareness back to the presentation. Move your toes, your fingers. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and just slowly open them and just kind of see where your body's at. You're probably, hopefully, feeling a lot more aware. Maybe your body feels a little bit more relaxed. You might be breathing a little bit easier. Maybe some stress has kind of gone away. But every day you breathe in and out without even thinking about it. And while that's true, that breathing is unconscious, it's also unique that we can bring that unconscious control, and coherent breathing takes advantage of this fact. So by controlling our breath, we can affect our body in a really positive way. So this exercise is something called coherent breathing, which is super easy to bring in for your students, and especially in front of like a test, by taking 1 minute and just allowing them to really focus on that breathing and calm those nerves can really help improve kind of their performance.
So now let's take a moment to understand mindfulness. And as CJ said earlier, mindfulness is kind of a buzzword right now. And there's some things that people believe it is and some things that it's not. So first, here's the definition of mindfulness. And it includes the curiosity, openness, and acceptance. So in the chat, I would like you to type in a word or a phrase that resonates with you in reading this slide. Or even something you didn't know before. Being present, that's a huge part of mindfulness, Cassandra. Like, so often people are doing their phones or multitasking and not really being present in that moment. And sometimes if we just focus on what we're doing, like not doing 2 things at once while you're watching this training can help. Spirituality, acceptance, non-judgmental, the freedom, being here right now, the awareness, paying attention on purpose. Love it, that written that way. That's a great way to define the presence, Don. Balance, Rosalind, great. Awareness of your thoughts and feelings at the moment, that and acceptance of feelings. Oftentimes we just don't give ourselves the time to allow to feel. And many of us taught not to feel or not to show emotion, but being able to experience that and work through those feelings helps us practice mindfulness and helps us staying present and working through those moments. Yep, and the clarity too. Thank you all for taking the time to share. So mindfulness with Generation Schools Network, when we're working with schools, we focus on the CASEL 5 competencies. And how does mindfulness promote the development of SEL skills? So looking at our 5 competencies: self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision-making, that are all components of social emotional learning. How do you believe this promotes the development of SEL skills in practicing mindfulness? In the chat box, feel free to share your thoughts around this question. CJ, how does it promote SEL in your world?
I think I love the self-awareness because it brings a time and a moment where you stop and find where you currently are in the current moment. And you try to take the past away, and you try to take the anxiety of the future away, and you really try to think about, in this moment, what are the decisions I need to make, and how am I going to affect those around me, and how am I going to affect myself? And so I think that's what really hits me, is just that self-awareness, which leads into self-management and leads into social awareness and responsible. So it just kind of trickles all the way around. And it's just giving yourself a minute to really hone in on and allow your body to physically prepare yourself to kind of attack all these emotional, social emotional areas.
Right. And some of our participants shared, being able to listen to your body and being open to other thoughts and feelings. And our feelings really help us be present in the moment, and we can tune into our physical surroundings, our physical body, self-regulation, the self-awareness. Yes, Deborah, how are you feeling? And really, when we're feeling good about ourselves, we can see things with clarity, like one of you put in the chat, and we are able to then focus on others and and it helps with our relationship skills too, because we're not, responding in a knee-jerk way or taking in things incorrectly. It helps with our perception too of what someone else is telling us. So it does fit into all 5 categories. Thank you. And here you can see, and it does start, it does start with that self-management and self-awareness, and then trickles into the others. Sorry, Ellen, go ahead. So next we're going to watch a video. And as you're watching this video, you're going to do a 3-2-1 activity. So if you have a paper or within your phone, or your notes of your phone, as you're watching this, we want you to write down 3 areas that students said mindfulness helped them. Write down 2 things that surprised you, and 1 question that you would like answered about mindfulness. So again, 3 areas that students said mindfulness helped them with, 2 things that surprised you, and 1 question you would like answered about mindfulness. Ellen, you can go ahead.
Before I tried mindfulness, I felt threatened all the time.
Really disillusioned with life.
Confused.
Tired. Stressed. Frustrated.
Scattered all over the place.
Overwhelmed. Anxiety over the future. Worried. It was kind of taking over my life.
I tried mindfulness because I felt stressed out. I was very concerned with the future and what my day was going to look like tomorrow and everything that was happening.
My life was always about what happened in the past and what's going to happen in the future. So by doing mindfulness, I live much more in the now. It is just a different approach to life.
We all experience difficult challenges in our life, like stress, pain, and depression. Mindfulness can give us resilience to rise above those challenges and live life more fully. Mindfulness is a particular type of meditation where we bring our awareness to the present moment. We can let go of the past, let go of the future, live life more fully, more joyfully.
We all are too busy. I think it's a thing that everybody's just so busy all the time right now.
You always have something that you have to do, or you're always going towards a certain goal. And mindfulness is just taking a moment to look at your life without any expectations.
Take time for yourself rather than getting carried off in all the daily activities that you have.
Mindfulness can be practiced by anyone, no matter what your religion, your age, or your background. We don't have to wait until we have time to do like a formal sitting meditation to practice mindfulness. We can bring that same mindful awareness to any activity that we're doing through our daily lives. So walking can be a meditation, eating our lunch, brushing our teeth, being creative, painting, writing, or playing music can get us deeply in touch with the present moment. Mindfulness is available anytime, anywhere.
It's a tool and skill that you can use for the rest of your life, and it's easy through simple daily or not daily exercises.
I mean, it just keeps us all just calm and present, and I think that that's healthy for anybody.
It can be beneficial for everyone, and you just have to go in with an open mind and take everything slowly instead of trying to get through life quickly and do as much as I can and as fast as I can do it. Instead, just enjoy everything you do and maybe look at life from a more positive perspective.
So I really invite you all to try it, to experience it, and to see for yourself how mindfulness might be able to affect and transform your own life.
So now here's your first bit of interaction with each other. We are going to have you go into breakout rooms and share your 3, 2, 1 thoughts with your group. So we're going to break into 5 breakout rooms and we'll have 5 minutes for this discussion. So Ellen will bring us into our breakout rooms and you can talk through these, and I'll add these, keep these questions in mind as you're guiding the discussion within your groups. some of the groups are having some great conversations, it looks like. We'll wait for everybody to come back. Okay, so who would like to share out something that they learned or from their group, or something from their discussion? Anyone willing to share? It's okay, there's only 29 of us now. And remember, not everybody's in different parts, so you'll never see us again, probably.
I can share, like, there was one person in our group, and, she turned around and said the one question, and I thought it was rather interesting how getting teachers to buy into mindfulness. It's very easy to get the students to buy in from the youngest ones, but trying to get the teachers to buy in is where sometimes there's a little bit of a struggle.
That's a great point. We see that when we go out into districts and do our training with them, like, oh, I don't want to do this. But you know what? Typically by the end of the training, we don't have a single person who's like, I didn't find something useful, or I didn't feel better about something that I learned. So that's a great way to get that buy-in, is practicing it together, and then encouraging administrators to include those during staff meetings too. If we're practicing it ourselves, then the students can see that, and you can get that buy-in that way too. Thank you. Anyone else?
Our group was surprised at how much the young students buy in. And I just think it's funny with the previous comment that really kids can be a little bit more adaptable to being vulnerable than adults can. Mm-hmm. So, they are really interested in finding new tools and new techniques that help them. And I think we think that they're going to feel the way we do and feel awkward, and, opening up is hard, and we have a lot of stuff to share. So, being vulnerable is always difficult, but kids are a little bit more willing to do it. So we need to remember that, I think, and in a safe environment, if they feel safe, they're going to be willing to participate.
I agree. And we talked about that in our group too. And especially with the younger ones, you don't even have to call out that it's mindfulness. You can just have them do things that are mindful, and then they have the skills for when they struggle. Okay, Ellen, thank you guys for sharing.
I
go ahead. Go ahead.
Something to add real quick. Just an idea that I saw from the video was I do SEL classes with our 8th grade, and right now we're trying to get our 6th and 7th grade back on track, just with changes with our counseling staff. And so I think one thing that I do want to start off now is doing like that mindful minute, just the exercise that we did at the beginning. And I think that by building the consistency, that'll become, a part of our norm, our class norm. And I was thinking, like, why didn't I start that from the beginning? I go right into the lesson and the activities, but I think this is something that I would really like to do, is that mindful minute. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. And, we observe classrooms all over, and I've seen teachers, as kids are preparing for a test, or they're going in and they have the test in front of them, use that mindfulness minute to just calm themselves, right? Or doing a quick, the 1 to 5 check-in on their hands. And everybody can close their eyes too when they're doing that, and put their number up, and then the teacher knows who to check in with if they're struggling. There's so many ways. Even I've seen where teachers will stop a lesson and circle their kids up and say, what's one thing you're looking forward to this week, to get their minds off of what's happening, or some question. Everybody goes around and shares, and then they go back to work. And it's a great release. It's a break, You get to know your students, but it gets their brains kicked back in. So there's so many ways to do that, and it can be fast, just like a minute. Thank you.
I have a question. I work with 18 to 24-year-olds with educational barriers, training them to become CNAs. And I think this would be useful when they start their clinicals.
Yes.
Because a lot of them aren't used to what they will be doing. So any tips on how I could transfer this to how they could do it in the moment when they're stressed out at work?
Yeah. So do you train them
Yes.
at the start?
Yes.
I think as you're training them, when you're working with them, just like we do in classrooms, embed it in your trainings and just say, okay, let's take a minute and everybody share how they're on a scale of 1 to 5, how you're feeling. And then you can always close and wrap up with, remember when you're feeling stressed, use this, or give them a task. Like when you're out doing your clinicals, when you feel stressed, pick something of the strategies and come back and let me know how that works for you. Great question. Okay, Ellen.
Okay, so we love research here at GSN. We always want to back up what we're trying to preach. And I would like you guys to just take a look. When well thought and practical regularly, mindfulness has been shown to improve these areas. So anything from mental health to well-being, mood, self-esteem, self-regulation, positive behavior, and academic learning. And so, you know, these are all things that progress us through the day in a positive light. And just simple things, as that video said, that can be done at any moment, at any time, can have such a drastic effect on all of these things. So I'd like to look a little bit deeper in the positive behavior and the academic learning side. So I'm going to let you all read silently to yourself on this one, and just kind of mark if you guys want to take a screenshot and look these up deeper, you sure can. Again, we'll be sending this out so you can have access to the presentation. But as you read, kind of what resonates with you most from this list, or what are you most interested in? And then I'd love to see anything in the chat that, you know, would potentially, you would like to dig in a little deeper. Yep, increased pro-social behavior. That's academics, positive attitude towards self.
Mindset, Dawn, seems to be the big new buzzword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Growth mindset.
Awesome.
And it really does, all of this does impact students in a positive way. And it's amazing what the research is continuing to show, as far as if we're meeting students with their basic needs, including their emotional needs, then their academics improve significantly, up to like we've seen in our own research, an 11% gain in academic achievement just through the development of social emotional learning skills and practicing things such as mindfulness.
And I mean, we talked in our group earlier, you are definitely going to see that social behavior change when students learn and practice the ability to slow down, to take a breath and think before they act. And that is, you know, a lifelong skill that all of us probably practice daily and now don't even realize that we're doing it sometimes. So, you know, it's things that we think can be common sense, and that maybe we're already capable of doing, but in reality, we do have to practice these things. These do take time, and learning how to implement them throughout your day and what works for each individual. And I think if Ellen, if you want to go on next, we've got a really fun thing. I'm sure many of you have seen a glitter jar before. And in fact, I love to do this with my children because it just, one, it's pretty and it's fun, but it really does resonate to the concept of slowing down, taking a breath, letting the glitter, letting the confusion settle, and then having clarity to it. So this is just the ingredients on how you make one, and it's kind of a really fun process to go through with your students if you have the time. And then what we'd like to do.
I want to jump in with the hot glue gun. Don't forget that part, that or Gorilla Glue, because that seals the lid on. We've done it and kids will smash it and the lid pops off and there's glitter everywhere.
Thanks, Donna.
Yeah.
I don't think I've done the hot glue gun, so that's smart.
Put your lid on with glue.
And then what I want to do is, this is a really fun thing that you can kind of walk your students through once they kind of get their jar and they're watching it. But if you guys just take a second to watch the screen, I'll read this to you and we can provide you this reading that you can take. But just find a comfortable state. And imagine that this glitter is like your thoughts when you're disillusioned, confused, tired, stressed, frustrated, scattered, overwhelmed, anxious, or worried. See how the whirling around and it makes it hard to see clearly. That's why it can be easy to make poor decisions when you are anxious about the future or consumed with the past, because you're not thinking clearly. Our susceptibility to remaining caught up in regrets of the past or worries of our future is normal and happens to all of us, no matter our age. Now watch what happens when you're still for a couple of moments. Keep watching. See how the glitter starts to settle and the water clears. Your mind works the same way. When you're calm for a little while, your thoughts start to settle and you start to see things much clearer. So our hopes is that by learning about the understanding and benefits of mindfulness, you will be able to focus on the present and live daily in a calmer and more peaceful way. Does anybody want us to post Ellen, you're sending this to everybody, they'll get an email?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll share that, and that'll be written into the a slide, so you guys can get that and read that really, really nice and easy.
And you can do it virtually without the mess.
That's right.
So, mindfulness myths. Here are 7 common myths of mindfulness. And in reading these myths, take a moment and think about why each of these would be a myth, or pick one out that you want to focus on and determine why that would be a myth. And we're going to now break you into breakout rooms again. And Ellen, when we go into the breakout rooms, if you could copy the myths again into the chat so that everybody can see those. And I'll give you 5 minutes to discuss any of these myths that you see and why you think they are a myth, and why they are mindfulness, the inverse of the myth. So 5 minutes in the breakout rooms to discuss the myths. Okay, coming back together, who would like to share out a little bit what they talked about in their groups? Or a big aha that you had? Jessica, can I put you on the spot and share what you talked about with preschool?
Yeah. I teach preschool, so I have 3 to 5-year-olds. And we were just talking about, while I don't necessarily have, a mindful part of my day that I would call it, we integrate it through our day in a lot of different ways. For example, we have a rest time for our kids, so they do lay down. They do not all sleep by any means, but we go through, right after lunch, we go into yoga. We talk about relaxing our body and stretching our muscles and slowing down our breathing. And then we gradually move into that rest time for them. But then the other piece that I had talked about was just the feelings that we talk about, because that is so much of our preschool day. How are you feeling and how is your friend feeling? And that's a really big first step for them to identify those feelings and what made them feel that way. And then further, what are they going to do about it? So we spend a lot of time on that stuff.
Well, you just debunked most of our myths right there. Thank you. And I see, yeah, tapping during rest time, that can be helpful. If those of you aren't familiar, you focus on one part of the body and you'll tap, and then you'll move to another part and tap. And some kids like it, or adults like it in different areas than others, but you can just you can just keep tapping. And if a student's upset, you can have them tap an area of their body, and it kind of makes their brain focus on that versus what's upsetting to them. Who else? Anyone else want to share out some aha?
I can share out again. So we talked about breathing and how even sometimes for adults to, learn the breathing can be a little bit more than anticipated. Like some people think, it's just regular breathing in and out, but there's a lot more to it when you're practicing it for mindfulness.
Yeah, and I was at the a group of us were at the Castle SEL forum, and the opening presenter taught me something I didn't realize before about breathing. She said, not only are you breathing in, but right before you exhale and right before you inhale, there's a pause. So when you breathe in and think about that pause, breathe out and pause. So it's like a 4-step process instead of a 2-step process. And that was something I learned that I found interesting. And also mindfulness is not only about breathing, like we've talked about, it's about being present and feelings and being in that moment and realizing how your emotions are affecting you, or what, even identifying, like Jessica said, what emotion you're feeling. Anyone else? Okay, Ellen. So typically we take a stretch break, and we have one thing that you can do with students, if you're in a circle or in your classroom, is have everybody, and you're welcome to do stretches now, but what we do is we'll have the students each pick a stretch, or each pick a little quick exercise to do, and each one gets a turn. So CJ, she might tell us, stretch your arms over your head, and we all do it. And then she'd pass it on to someone else, and we do that stretch. So that's another way to practice mindfulness and bring students and even teachers back to the present and get their wiggles out. Okay, Ellen. And then mindfulness applications. So as CJ said in the glitter activity, our minds are swirling all the time with things that have happened in the past, worrying about the future. And a lot of times we tend to not focus on the present. So thinking about your body is present, is your mind present? Putting down that phone when you're in a meeting, or having students even put down their pencil on their paper and take a breath to bring them back to the present, can be easy ways to continue practicing and being present in your mind, not just your body. So another activity we like to do is called the seated squeeze and release. So I invite all of you now to just kind of sit where you are or get grounded in your seat, putting both feet on the ground. Find that comfortable position. Close your eyes if you like. You're welcome to close your eyes. And focus first on your feet. Scrunch up your toes as tight as you can. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And now release. And working up to the next part of your body. Squeeze your calf muscles as tight as you can. And release. And now let's work on our whole legs. Bunch your legs up all together, your toes, your entire legs. Squeeze them, and release. And now take in a big breath of air and squeeze it inside your stomach, feeling that ball of air as it wants to escape. And release. Now moving to our shoulders. Scrunch them up to your ears. Hold them up tight, tight, tight. Can you get them any closer to your ears? And drop them down. And now with your arms, pull your biceps in, make your muscles, and release. Now with your fist, ball them up like you're ready to punch through concrete. Make them as tight as you can and as strong as you can. And release. Now scrunch up your face into a tight ball, making that mad, angry face. And release. And now take a deep breath in and out, and sink yourself back into your chair. One more breath. Out. Okay, you can open your eyes, coming back when you're ready. So that's another way to practice mindfulness. And you can even do this when you're in a meeting and feeling stressed. Just nobody even needs to see your balling up any part of your body and releasing it. It's a great strategy for students to use, even in the moment of a test when they're struggling, just to stop for a minute, and you can squeeze up your whole body too and release it. So that's another strategy to use with yourself and your students. Next slide. So mindful eating. If we were in person today, I would have given you all a nice piece of chocolate and encourage you to just eat it and chomp it up. If you have something with you now sitting next to you, a drink or anything, you can do this with me. So the concept is you take a big, like I have this drink, I'm going to take a big drink and I'm going to swallow it down. Okay, there's not much with that. But what happens if you take a bite, a small bite, or a drink of what you have, and you hold it in your mouth and you actually feel it? You think about what it tastes like. What flavors are you getting? What does it feel like in your mouth? Is it melting? Is it wanting to ooze down your throat? Thinking about how that food looks even before you put it into your mouth. This is a way to practice mindful eating. Not only does it help you be present, but it also helps you with not eating as quickly. It can help with weight loss. It can help you think about what you're putting into your body. Like if you're putting a potato chip in and you're noticing, oh, this is greasy, or a donut. For me, I don't like donuts because when I take a bite, it feels like it's coating the top of my mouth and I just want to spit it out. But if we feel the taste of the food, we focus on how that feels and what it's doing to our body as it's going in, that can help us not only with our health, but also be able to practice mindful eating, where we eat less, and rather than just shoveling food, a lot of times we're eating with groups or other people, and we're not paying attention to what we're putting in our mouth or how quickly we're eating. It can help us slow down our eating and really enjoy the food and talk about the taste of the food. I see teachers do this during snack time with their students. Rather than just having the students eat their snacks and while the teacher's off at their desk doing whatever they want to do during that snack time, having kids intentionally practice mindful eating and getting discussions going around how does that taste today? Or if you take another bite, what do you notice differently? And then it leads into other conversations around what they like to eat, and you get to know them too. So snack time's a great opportunity to do this with your students, and even for yourself as you're eating your lunch with your 26-minute lunch break where you have kids in the room, you can take a moment to take a bite of food and feel it and think about what you're doing. Okay, Ellen. Now I'm going to guide you through a mindful listening activity. So with this activity, we play the music. We invite you to close your eyes and just listen to the music. Don't watch the screen. Just listen and be in tune with how the music makes you feel. And following this activity, we'll share a little bit about each of you, about how it felt for each of you. So go ahead, Ellen. Oh, we can't hear it, Ellen. Okay, coming back to us. In the chat box or by unmuting, share how that felt to you or what that did with your emotions as you were listening. And if we were doing this in person, we would have closed the video so you couldn't see the screen and just listened. So Marianne, invigorating. Debbie, a roller coaster. Relaxing, motivated.
Excited.
Okay, good. Calming.
I don't know how to.
Relaxing. Not sitting still and just to listen for that long, right? Sometimes that's hard to do that. Brought back memories, and that's right, Rosalind, the memories music can really, just like our taste and smells, can bring back memories for us. Rejuvenating. Playing the violin, Tamika. Sounded like the elevator, Carolyn. Thinking of Jane Austen, ballroom dancing. So Robin had some visual imagery. Lacey was relaxing. A massage should follow at the spot. I love it. This is something that you can do with your students. And I've seen, I was observing a music teacher one day, Deborah dancing, twirling. I was observing a music teacher one day, and she actually created a unit where she had the students pick their own song, and then each one got to present their song and have their class practice the mindful listening, and after share why they picked that song and what it meant to them, and then ask others what it did for them. So this is a great way to interact with your students, and or during that rest time, if for those preschoolers or after lunch, just have them practice listening to the music, listening if it's with words. And sometimes what I saw when observing that other classroom with the music teacher, she's told me, she's like, I'm worried some of these kids picked rap, right? But then when they really practiced the mindfulness, she was shocked at how even that music could be relaxing when you're focusing and you're being present. So this is a great activity to use even as you're falling asleep at night. Pop in some music and listen to the words. Maybe we're always driving when we're listening to music, it seems like, and you don't always listen to the words because you're focusing, but when you take time to listen to the words of a song or even just the music, what I like to do when I'm listening to music is try to pick out the different instruments and focus on that as I'm listening to see what that instrument does throughout the duration of the song. So that's another way to utilize the listening. Okay, so here's some other activities that you can do for using our senses, because mindfulness includes the senses. So you can listen with a chime or a singing bowl. There's walking, and there's a breath app that'll be linked to the presentation to guide your practice with that. Like we talked about, the mindful eating, just tasting, using our sense of taste, seeing, the tracing or mindful coloring, the finger labyrinths. You can find those online, and you can even get the ones with your school's mascot on it and have the kids trace or practice with their finger following the maze, or with an infinity symbol, just going back and forth and kind of breathing with that as they go. You can guide them through that practice. The touch, doing pressure point massage on yourself. I know massaging right here on your hand helps with relieving your stress and if you have a headache, it can do that. And just finding different points to massage, or even like you guys mentioned earlier, the tapping. Okay. So we will be providing you with some additional resources in the PowerPoint. Like CJ said, how to create a glitter jar, you can make stress balls. One thing that a lot of teachers take away from this are the calm down boxes, where they let students create their own box, and they can bring in their own items from home, even if it's a picture or a feather or different objects for them to focus on. and hold if they need to calm down, or you as a teacher can provide different items for them to select from that you feel are appropriate for your classroom. And then the kids can go to those when they need to calm down. And what we've seen too, sometimes students who have these in their classrooms, their peers will start telling them, hey, I think you might need to go visit your calm down box. And they start supporting each other in that way if it just becomes part of the classroom. And another great thing, and especially with like schools that implement capturing kids' hearts, or just anytime, the mindfulness journals. And there's a link to sentence stems to have students create those. One of the teachers that I work with, she said that she has students practice in their journals writing. And if they want the teacher to read something, they can put a little post-it on it on that page. And the teacher then reads that and can have conversations. It's up to the students if they want to share. Another teacher has them write down their thoughts. She has a jar, and I did this in my classroom. I had a jar where students could drop notes to me, and they didn't have to put their names on it, but they could say how they were feeling and get it out, because writing it down sometimes just helps it get it out, and knowing that someone else is seeing it and being able to address that. Okay, Ellen, next. So with our wrap up, we did our warm up. Now we're doing our wrap up. In the chat box, how are you feeling now? And did you change your number? Agnes, from 4 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 2. Oh, from a 2 to a 4, a 1 to a 4. Awesome. From a 2 to a 3.75. Dawn, are you a math teacher? No.
That's awesome, you guys.
This is wonderful. Charlene, a 1 to a 4. See, just in the short time we were together, you can see how this can help you. And even if you take away one new activity or one new idea, hopefully it was well worth your time. Okay, Ellen. Oh, next slide, Ellen. So, closing thoughts. Does anyone have something, you can put it in the chat box or share out, something that you're going to take away from the training, an aha or an appreciation or apology? My closing thought is, wow, I'm so glad to have gotten to meet with everyone all over the world, truly all over the world, and get to connect with you. And I appreciate you for joining us today. CJ, did you have anything?
Oh gosh, that's about the same thing that I would say. I just always love connecting with people and sharing tools and resources to improve anybody's day-to-day. So thank you so much for taking the time to let us chat at you, especially at the end of the night.
Yeah, and Brenda scheduling mindful breaks throughout the day. Ellen put the feedback survey in the chat. So if you want to get a certificate and the PowerPoint for today's training, please fill out that survey, because that's the only way we have to contact you. And Ellen, if you want to go to the next slide. So there's the feedback survey, it's in the link. And when you get the PowerPoint, you have CJ and my contact information. We're happy to work with you in any way, even if you just have a question or you have something that you're doing that would be useful to share with others. We would love that too. We're always looking for great ideas. And if you have your survey done, you're free to leave. CJ and I will hang out with for a little while if you have any questions or thoughts for us as well.
Thank you everyone so much.
Can I get the